and headmaster was once a teacher. The number of baby mamas we have now is really on the rise. And what has caused it? They throw caution to the wind.
During Igbo's time, there was no time sex education. During our time, there's sex education. They are teaching you.
But how many of us listen?
I feel sex before marriage is a personal choice. It's an opinion by everybody because, I mean, we're all individual beings. So everybody has their own opinion on how to treat themselves, their body, and experiences that they should have before marriage, after marriage, during marriage, all of that.
From my own end, sex should be reserved after marriage. Of course, just as we earlier said, it's a personal thing. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make for yourself. How you want to go about it is your choice.
Yeah.
But for me, I say it should be reserved, and it shouldn't be something that we will just try to, as parents, we try to cancel the way we can, but it's not something that can be enforced on the other person. So sex, according to the Bible, is referred to as a sin, as sin. So if you want to go by what's the doctrine of the Bible, you have to reserve for only the married.
Not everybody is a Christian, so we're saying sex before marriage now. I believe that it should be something that everybody experience because you have to experience it. It's something to experience. Because I know you're going to say, okay, from the Bible's perspective or from a different generation's perspective to ours, it's how we're taught or how your generation was taught. Or I mean, coming down to us, you would say things are being watered down, but I believe things we are being more expressive now. So that helps us understand things better and gives us a broader vision of how life is, because people are always going to be like, you don't understand, this is how life is. But yeah, we might understand more than what you guys think. So I guess it's actually, it's something you should explore before marriage, so I know what works. Yeah.
You said something about you should experience it.
Yeah.
Is it something that you think you must experience before you go into marriage? I don't think it's something that you must experience. Just like we said, it's a matter of choice. But you know the implication of going into sex without marriage, before marriage, you know.
It depends. It depends on what you.
But also remember that we are once. I always say this adage, and headmaster was once a teacher. So we should be in the best position to advise you on what to do.
But a headmaster in, let's say, 1860 and a teacher in 2024.
We always go for refresher training.
It's not the same curriculum. So even if you're going to go for a refresher training, because from your standpoint that you're saying, that you was a teacher before a headmaster.
Yes.
But I mean, the curriculum always changes. Because why does the curriculum change? We're using school as a perspective now.
Yes.
Because it changes because, people will say, okay, this works better, this works okay. Because coming back to our point now, we're saying sex before marriage. I say it's something you experience because so you know how you're compatible. Because I feel if you don't know what you're compatible with or how you're compatible during or with sex, you can just rush in, you can go into any marriage and you'll be like, okay, this person doesn't really fancy sex and you're very sexually active. How do you guys now become compatible? Because I feel that's what causes a lot of marriages to break up, because two people are not compatible sexually, and that's, I believe, is a very, very huge part of every marriage. So without experience.
From what I have learned and from what we've been told, sex is just an aspect of marriage. Yes, it's important, but it's just an aspect of marriage. We shouldn't be taken to be the whole marriage itself. Because if you look at it, after a while, after some years in marriage, you don't even have that urge. This so-called sex you hold on to, the urge is not even there. So what do you do if you go into marriage because of sex? What happens when that urge is no more there? Okay. What do you do?
Now I'm going to use your point, because I say, what if you go into marriage because of sex?
Yes.
So now, as we are younger, like the younger generation now, and we say, okay, let's preserve ourselves, and you now start having the urge a lot, and you go into marriage due to the urge.
Yes, and that is what the Bible says. If you cannot withstand it, if you cannot keep yourself, get yourself married.
That's the problem. That's how you rush in, have the sex, you rush out.
No.
Yeah, that's what it's going to. That's definitely what you're going to have. You're going to have that. You rush in, you have sex.
How many of those married people did you see rushing out those days?
Because they didn't
those
have,
days.
because
I said those days.
because they didn't have because they didn't have opinions.
No,
they didn't have a right to live then.
It is because you've tested, you've done this, and so you've had so much, and so you now feel that person is no more okay for you. You are not okay, so you want to continue.
No.
And you go out.
That's the thing. That's the perspective, because you're now narrowing the perspective down from a general perspective of it. Now you're saying sex. If you don't have it, let's say you just keep yourself, and then you're succumbing to the urge, so you just marry the first person you see, or the first person that comes your way, and then during this whole marriage, and you're like, aside the sex, as you said, aside the sex, this person is not what you expected, it's not what you wanted, and then
no, we are talking about sex here, not
but
outside the sex.
No, but look at it from that aspect. Now you go into the marriage
because
of the urge, because you want to have sex.
No, not because you want to have sex.
Because of the urge to have sex.
Because you want to preserve yourself. You don't want to start jumping from one person to the other.
You're saying jumping from one person to the other, but I'm talking about from the perspective of the sex itself. Because if you don't look at it, is either you keep yourself to marriage, or you wait. You keep yourself to marriage, or you have sex before marriage. So if you're keeping yourself to marriage, you can succumb to when you feel like, okay, yeah, according to the Bible, as it's properly stated, I'm succumbing to this, it's becoming a lot for me. You get married to the first person that comes, the first John that comes your way as a lady, or the first Elizabeth that comes.
No. It doesn't mean. Okay, if the first person that, even if the person's leg is this way, you say it's the first person that has come, and so you jump into marriage.
It's possible because they want to just have that whole, because you both agree that it has an urge. There's an urge that comes with it.
And the urge, the urge can also, you can suppress it. One of the benefits of abstaining from sex before marriage is that you feel high. You are proud of yourself. That you could keep to yourself before getting into marriage. And I promise you that man will respect you, that he met you as a virgin.
Now you're looking at it from a woman's perspective.
That is one. And that guilt also will not be there. That you were once, because as a mother, I will not even say, because I was once there. I said that Edward was once a teacher. I was once there, but it's not something I will encourage somebody to do. Women in particular, I'm not talking about the men, women in particular, it will always come. When you're in your quiet, it will come. And how do you get out of it? If you don't mess up yourself, you feel happy. And I just pray that you young ones, you don't even go into contacting one kind of a disease and the other, of which you don't even know. Or unwanted pregnancy might even come up. Who do you responsible?
Yeah, okay. Let me start from the back and go to the front. We start from unwanted pregnancy. Yes. At least for that one now, we can shift to one side, because there are a lot of preventive for pregnancies, either male contraceptives, female contraceptives, pills. That would damage. That's if you're talking about pills, there are still different protective measures, condoms and all that you can use, and then you keep yourself, and you're sure that, okay, no, you're not contacting anything, or nobody's getting pregnant. Have you seen where there's have you heard, not even seen, maybe you must have seen, have you heard where there's burst of that so-called condom, and she still gets pregnant? Then contraceptives come into play there. On the general holistic idea of it, there are preventive ways and corrective ways towards that. Then you talked about the aspect of the pride. As we have always said, it's the personal thing. So I believe the pride is not general to, okay, I kept myself, so I am proud. Or I didn't keep myself, so I'm having the guilt that I had sex before marriage. Because I believe most people would see it's just life. It's just through the cycle of life. So it's not about pride or guilt. I believe that one now doesn't really come into play, especially in the year we're in.
I believe you've also seen where you see these unwanted pregnancies, the effect it has on single mothers.
Everything that is not regulated will always have.
How do you regulate it?
During Hebrews time, there was nothing like sex education. During our time, there's sex education. They are teaching you.
But how many of us listen?
A lot.
That's
the point now. You're saying.
But we still see single mothers of these days. Gen Zs, they still go out, single mothers.
There have always been single mothers, even from your generation.
The number of baby mamas we have now is really on the rise. And what has caused it? They throw caution to the wind. You see young girls going out with sugar daddies. During our days. During our mother's days. During our mother's days.
The economy was
you will see people hiding their faces.
But okay, you're saying that
before you know it,
there are plenty baby mamas now.
Yes.
But also you can also put into note that okay, these baby mamas that you're seeing currently,
yes,
some of them have actually agreed or want that. There are guys that want that, there are ladies that want that. They don't want to get married because
we know we are not talking about the proportion of them outside. We know, I agree with you.
Because we're looking at it from the perspective of sex before marriage, and I really believe that having sex before the marriage itself is very, very important.
It's important.
Yes, it's important. It's not just necessary.
What do you benefit? Why is it important? Can you tell me why it's important?
From the standpoint of you understanding, you having the experience, because you go into a marriage and you're either as a lady, you're too active for him as a guy, so there's no satisfaction, so it now makes you go outside. But you would have known.
You know our mothers. Even in the time of
voice. And they didn't have the education.
They never. No, you don't need to go to school before you say you know what to do.
So I believe generally that having sex before marriage now helps a lot, because it helps with compatibility. When you know, okay, I'm compatible with this person because you've experienced what you like or how you want to be. You've experienced how you are, what you are, and how you want to be, and what you like as a person, which helps a lot. And then this helps because when you have this experience now and you now go into a marriage, you're not going there blindfolded. Your eyes are wide open. You know how or what is going to be. So you don't have any reason to say, or the reason is for you to run out of the marriage because of sex.
Sex is just an aspect.
But it's a very important aspect for a young couple.
As much as it's important, it's just an aspect.
But you're saying that.
And after a while, you don't even feel that urge.
But
so
that's the problem now. You run out. A while can be 20 years. A while can be 30 years. Because you're saying after a while now, they might not feel the urge to like always have sex and all. But that a while is a year is enough for a marriage to just destroy, because she's not being satisfied and she now goes and she now sees someone else that's able to satisfy her and he finds out marriage is over. But if she already had that knowledge of, okay, yes, this is how so if he comes, even during courtship, even when they are knowing each other and you're like, and he's like, and she's like, okay, I love this, I love being taken like this, I am very, very sexually active. He's like, okay, no, I don't. She already has in mind what she's walking into if she goes for that. So when she has that education, she has that information, because I believe in our current life now, information is key. When you have the information you need, going into any particular thing now keeps your mind wide open. So when you have information, okay, this is the benefit of it. So when you're going into it, okay, this is how it's going to be for you.
The percentage of my agreement, is just a little. Yeah. Because this life, is about give and take. It's a win-win situation. If peradventure you get into a marriage that maybe your partner is not sexually active the way you are, I believe that's win-win stuff should come in, where you either bring her up. Maybe there's something you are doing that is making her not to come up. So you have to learn about the anatomy of a woman and see how you can bring her up to your level. Or if she's not, maybe there's a way you can also calm down so that you'll be at par to see how you can enjoy your marriage. So in essence, I'm saying that you don't need to go into sex life before marriage.
So now you get into a small situation. They are turning socially from sex. You get into the marriage and it's not working out. You've tried everything. As a lady, you've tried everything to get him to be turned on. So you put just, so you have it like at least twice or let's say once a day. You have to say let's say once a day. That is what will be okay for you. And it's not working as a lady in this current generation where everybody has a voice. And then you're like, you hear your voice, this is not working for me. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And she now keeps quiet on that and does her own. And then he finds out and they break up as a marriage.
So is it, you think sex before marriage would have taken care of this?
I believe so. Because if she had had sex and she knew, okay, this is how she is, and he also knew how he was, and this is something that came up during courtship, everybody would be like, okay.
Yes, you've had sex with her before marriage. Yes, you've seen that she's active. How about if something happens in future that you don't get that satisfaction from her? Maybe she's sick, something comes up that she's no more active. You put her away.
No, at this point now, you're saying you put her away. No, but you already have the knowledge before the marriage of how things are. Okay, both of you are now, you have had sex.
I've not agreed with you. I've not agreed with you. Shebi, your testing is about, you want to know if she's sex, abi? Because I've earlier told you that sex is just an aspect of marriage. There are so many factors that come into marriage. Sex is just an aspect of it. So now that you've seen that she's active and something happens, what do you do? Because you're looking at sex.
I understand that particular aspect you're looking at.
What do you do?
At this point now, I believe it's going to be his own cup to bear because he knows, okay, they've had a good run and now she cannot move forward. He has to swallow the hard pill.
Sure.
Yes, because
he entered, he went in because of something, so he will also get out.
No, it was one of the things. You're saying because of just that. I'm saying it is one of the things. Generally, I've read a couple of times whereby you see men complain about that their wife, when they get married, their wife doesn't want to have sex, and they're always having the urge. And then they're always like, you see people, even on Instagram, you see people cry out about it because generally they don't know what to do at this point. If they had known that, okay, yeah, she's not as active as I am, probably their mind would have been more free towards it before the marriage. But now, they just went into the marriage because, okay, yeah, you're a good girl, yeah, I want to go, and then went into it, and now they're having issues because she's unable to meet his own level. Do you get on the whole sexual stuff? And then also, I've seen cases whereby there are women that are very active and their men are always very busy. So, okay, you come back as a man and you're tired, and that is not what is on your mind. What's on your mind is for you to go to bed. And she's coming out to complain that every week in, week out, since after the marriage, no sex because he's busy. A lot of the time, you see women cry out. I believe this is a very, very general thing. You see women cry out about this a lot.
That is, I want to comment there because you entered with the notion that, yes, she's good on bed, yes, that, and you got married to her. But look at this situation now. They were all active. Let me say they were all active. They like themselves. Yes, this one is stagnant and active. But look at the work situation came in. I was just watching the video not too long. You see that this lady is a housewife. I believe they never had issues before. But this man came back from work. He wanted to have sex with the wife, but she said she was tired. She's tired with the housework. So what do you do? In short, I think that's the tip. In short, as if I knew I was even coming for this, I watched that program. Before you know it, the tables turned. It was suspended from work. Okay, she now had to go to look for a job. Okay, oh yeah, madam said me I'm ready. He said he wasn't ready because he's tired taking care of the children. What do you do when we are faced with such situation? So I believe we can just still hold ourselves together. But if you think you cannot keep to yourself, just as the Bible has encouraged us, if you know you cannot keep yourself and you're of age, it's better you get married. My name is Mrs. Jatto. Married with 2 children. And I think I've spoken from the point of an African woman, the way you've put in it, an African woman, and as a mother that is not in support of sex before marriage.
My name is Gideon Akani, and my opinion generally of sex before marriage hasn't changed. Hasn't changed because I believe, okay, I've got more information, but the opinion itself has not changed. Because I mean, my own point before the conversation still stood, because I believe that point is still very valid and very important and necessary. So yeah, some other issues were raised, which would you add for more education, more sex education, and better values. But the opinion of should you or should you not have sex before marriage has not changed. Undoubtedly, has not changed. I believe everyone should it's something you should experience before going into a marriage, so you know what you want and who you are.